Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would talk to you about what the best order is to take the CPA exams. So obviously this is a very important question and you're gonna have to decide which order you want to take them pretty early on. So first I'm going to talk about the approaches that you should take, and then the general recommended order, and then some tips that I have for you when you choose which pattern you want to take them in. So the first approach is that you can take the easiest section first. And when I say easiest section, I mean the easiest one for you. So obviously everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to find a certain section to be easier than others, and everyone's going to find a certain section to be harder than others. So whichever one is the easiest for you, you should take that first. And the reason behind this approach is that if you take the easiest one first, you're more likely to pass it. So that will give you a good boost and it'll keep you motivated to keep studying for the other sections that are harder. The only downside to taking this approach is if you take the easiest one first and you pass it, your 18-month window starts. So obviously you have to pass all 4 sections within an 18-month window, or technically 3 sections, because your 18-month window starts when you pass your first section. So if you pass the easiest one first, your 18-month window starts, your exams might expire as you take the later section, and you might have to retake your first section. So that's the only downfall about taking the easiest section first. Now the second approach is to actually take the hardest exam first. So obviously, like I said, your 18-month window starts when you pass your first exam. So if you take the hardest section first, you will pass it, and then you will be more likely to pass the other 3 within the 18 months because your 18-month window doesn't start until you pass your first one. So this way, if you take the hardest one first, you'll get the hardest exam out of the way and you won't have to worry about having to retake exams that you have already passed. So this was the approach that I took, and I definitely recommend you take this approach because I have heard of people who have taken the approach where they take the easiest one first and then they end up not being able to pass the harder sections, and then they have to retake the first section that they passed. So just to keep that in mind, so I definitely recommend you do the hardest section first. So whichever one is the hardest for you, obviously, again, everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to find a certain section to be harder than the others. But I would say generally people say that FAR is the hardest, and that's typically the one that people start with. So the general order that you take the CPA exams in is FAR, Audit, Reg, and BEC. And FAR is a good exam to take first because the other exams build on it. So you're going to see a lot of stuff that you study in FAR overlap into the other sections. And it's also what most people say is the hardest section. Most people agree that FAR is the hardest section. So again, like I said, if you take it first, you get it out of the way first, and you don't have to worry about passing that exam in your 18-month window. So that's just the recommended order. I've also heard some people say that they took FAR, Audit, BEC, and then Reg because FAR, Audit, and BEC do have the most overlap, and Reg is kind of its own exam. I personally didn't do that because, in my opinion, I thought Reg was harder than BEC, so I wanted to get a harder one done first. So the order that I took it in was FAR, Audit, Reg, and then BEC. But the order that I passed them in was FAR, Reg, BEC, then Audit. And that was just due to timing and COVID hitting and the testing centers closing. But the order that I took them in was FAR, Audit, Reg, and BEC. So that was just my approach, the order that I took it in. So definitely decide for yourself. And some tips that I have for choosing the order you take your exams in, I would say definitely take FAR before you take Audit, because there are a lot of overlaps between FAR and Audit, because if you think about it, FAR is basically building the financial statements. Auditing is basically checking if the financial statements are reasonably stated. So definitely recommend you take FAR before you take audit. It will definitely help you. I felt like a lot of the questions on audit, I don't think I would have been able to answer correctly if I didn't take FAR first. So definitely keep that in mind. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful, and also comment down below what order you took your CPA exams in, or what order you're planning to take your exams in. And if you found this video helpful, then go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to see more CPA videos, then subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you'll never miss a video if you're notified. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.